Mic check. Check one.
Okay. Welcome to How to Start a Business with No Degrees and No Cash. So this is going to be a very, very informative discussion. Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to bring Brother Troy up. He's going to talk to you guys about all the knowledge and wisdom and understanding that he has gained over his lifetime. And take notes. Definitely take notes. We're gonna, he's gonna talk for about 45 minutes. Then we're gonna take a 15-minute break so you guys can, mull around, support the vendors, grab a bite to eat, and then after that we come back and there'll be a question and answer session. Okay? So Brother Troy X is here. He's ready to present, but prior to him doing that, I'm going to bring up his brother Takari, and he's going to say some few words for us. So please give these brothers a hand.
Thank you, Queen. It's actually Bakari, but that's okay, Queen. How's everybody doing? Good, good. So good to see the family out today. Just wanted to say a few words as I bring my brother out. I'm Bakari. I'm a business partner with Brother Troy. I wanted to talk to you briefly about what you're going to get today. What you're going to get today is a practical knowledge, meaning a useful knowledge, something that you can use, something that makes sense, something that, if utilized correctly, will be vital in your efforts to make your business thrive. My background is I attended Howard University, where I was a legal communications major. I went on to work for companies like AT&T and MCI and Verizon Wireless. Also as a director at one of the largest educational companies in the world, Pearson Education. I met Brother Troy probably 25 years ago. I'm also the co-author of a self-help book called Motivate. I say all that to say that all of that wealth of knowledge that I gained through college and through those experiences don't equal up to the very basic lessons I learned from being around Brother Troy. One of the very most important lessons that I learned, that he learned from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, was business is simply the activity of life, right? So we're all engaged in business, whether it's to make money or not. Very important lesson. My son, who's a freshman at Clark Atlanta University, started a business in January on campus and was so successful, within a matter of weeks, they interviewed him on a local radio station, and he enumerated a lesson that he also got from me by way of Brother Troy, which they said, well, what was the most important thing you could share with somebody? And he said, I learned from my dad to just get started. Just get started. And so these are some of the practical lessons you'll get. A lot of people say, well, I got to get my business license. I got to go do this. And those things are important, but nothing's more important than to simply get started. Just go about the business of doing business, right? Because business is simply the activity of life. So you'll be hearing from a brother who has a great wealth of knowledge. He's been very successful in business for quite a while, and who has no degree from a university, has not worked in any Fortune 500 company or for any Fortune 500 or any company for that matter, but who has gleaned his knowledge through trial and error and from learning. And he sustained himself and his family off of the activity of his life, which we call business, right? That's right. So with no further ado, I want to bring up my brother, my partner, Brother Troy X.
Peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Islam.
Simply means peace be unto you, as we know. It's always important in any endeavor that is of great significance that we always ask God for his protection and his help. Whether we know him by the Supreme Being, or by whatever significant name you know him by, it's always proper to ask God's help, to ask God's permission. So we who are followers of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan we are always asked to come in the name of Allah. So it is the name of the Supreme Being, the name of the one God, that I come to the people of God in the greeting words of peace of, once again, Assalamu alaikum. Hotep. Yes, first of all, thank our sister Al-Kamar, who has been instrumental in making this become a reality. We also thank the ownership and I guess the staff as well for allowing this opportunity of great significance to take place. It's not that I'm significant or insignificant, but whenever a group of people, a group of black people can come together and share knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that may advance us, I think any person who allows this opportunity to take place, we owe them our applause. So give them a round of applause. And of course, Al-Kamar chose the subject matter, and God willing, we hope to fulfill what the subject matter states. Next slide. First of all, how many of us have a business? Okay, praise be to Allah. Okay, how many of us are desiring or aspiring to have a business? So this is for all of us, one way or another. And as we go into detail, we will highlight how significant or how relevant it is for all of us, even if we do have a business. But it's always important to recognize, particularly our brother who is physically gone, but by way of social media and the activities that's taking place all over the country, all over the world, he's very much alive. Is that right? Yes, sir. So let's thank God for this beautiful vessel that he has used in a seemingly unfortunate way that bring things that are considered improbable to come together. And his name is of great significance. His name is an Ethiopian name that means sent by God.
Think about it.
In Arabic, it has a similar meaning, God will rise. And we believe that we are the people of God. And we believe due to his vessel being used, it's obvious that he came this way, sent by God. Is that right? Yes, so let's thank God for a vessel of our brother who was physically gone but still very much alive. Let's thank God for our brother, Nipsey Hussle. How to start a business with no degrees and no cash. This, whether you know it or not, how many of us went to college before? You know as well as I do. They say that, I just read recently, that 70% of those who graduate with a degree from college has a debt. And they said that debt from average debt of those who attended college or university is $40,000. And they say due to the debt that one accumulate because of going to those institutions, it interferes with them in the purchasing of homes and things of that nature, because you know that's hard to get off of your, if it can get off of your credit report. That's real. Then it says it takes 6 months for those who did graduate from college to get a job.
That's right.
Then it says that after those who do graduate and got to wait 6 months, got $40,000 worth of debt, they're in a field that they didn't even go to school for.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes. True.
So somebody perpetrating a fraud, right? So the question is how to start a business with no degrees and no cash. Next slide. This is who I am. First and foremost, I'm your brother. That's number one. If I could be anything, I just want to be a brother. No name can classify or describe what we want to be. We just want to be your brother. This thought has been given to us truthfully by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He said, if you can just be your brother or your sister, that's good enough. No name should describe us. So I'm your brother. assistant to Minister Farrakhan, Mid-Atlantic Regional Minister, Brother Abdul Qadir Muhammad, Muhammad's Mosque number 4. And I'm also proud to say, how many of us heard of the FOI?
Come on.
The Fruit of Islam. I'm talking about them brothers that was in Baltimore when the Freddie Gray thing took place. I'm talking about them brothers who were just in LA that were distributing 100,000 free final calls to everybody in LA that was around the Nipsey Hussle, courtesy of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In 2018, by God's grace, I was the Mid-Atlantic Regional FOI
Of the year.
award. Praise be to Allah. That's significant. By God's grace, I'm owner of a transportation. You may see some of my vans right there, transportation business. Since 2000, Brother Bakari mentioned that I was in prison. And prison, whether you know that, is really is another institution. That if you apply yourself right, you can come out with degrees that no school can give you. And by God's grace, that I was in prison for 11 years straight. And by God's grace, since I've been home from prison, I only worked for someone 3 times. And this was early on, because when you first come home from prison, they require that you get a job. And a friend of mine had a car shop that he sold audio, video equipment. And another individual that I used to look out in the street had a mortgage company. So I started dealing with real estate, dealing with him. Another time I did telemarketing for maybe 2 weeks or so. But that's it. And since that time, I have not worked for nobody but myself. As Marcus Garvey said, a man's bread and butter is only insured when he works for it himself. Also, by God's grace, I'm an owner of TMT Realty. I specialize in tax lien investing, purchasing tax liens and things of that nature. Founder, executive director of A Glimpse of Paradise. This is my partner, Brother Bakari. He's associate director of that, and you see us in various schools. We have contracts with the state of Maryland dealing with juvenile. We have a comprehensive juvenile or youth life skills program, also an adult life skills coaching program as well, that we had that officially established since 2007. And we've been all throughout Maryland juvenile facilities, also places in Washington, D.C. foster care units as well. And also you see me as a co-chair of the local organizing committee of Annapolis, Maryland. And some of the members here who make that become a reality every year. We have a Family Day Festival in Annapolis, Maryland, and we have Black History programs and things of the nature. Social activists uplifting the mindsets of our people, whatever condition that they're in. Last, certainly not least, co-owner of Bart Slum LLC. That's an investment group that we have. We got to understand how to use that money, pool it together. So that's a little bit about myself, and of course, these are my children, my grandson right there. So that's a little bit of who I am. Our workshop objectives: to inform and inspire. There's 2 components to education, and what are they? Inspiration and what? Information. It's one thing to inform, but it's another thing to inspire an individual once you got the proper knowledge to do something for yourself. So we just don't want to give you the proper knowledge, which we hope to do, but we also want to inspire you to do something for yourself. We want to outline the necessary steps of starting and maintaining a business. Many of us start a business. You can ask a lot of people, they say, I got a business. I have business cards.
Right.
But the question is, are you maintaining your business? Do you still have that business? Not just in name, but are you active with your business? We want to give examples of various business structures, the pros and cons of each one of them. You have several of them: LLC, sole proprietor, S-class, C-class, and whatnot. What is that structure? Where can I sign up, or where can I register my business? Where's the office place? And how much does it cost, and things that they should do it cost. So we'll go through that as well. And explaining the necessity of knowing your purpose and your passion. That's key. Because some of us just want to get in business because we make money, right? And it may not necessarily be the business that you really like. And it really, if you're like that, sometimes it doesn't differentiate much from a job. You know, certain jobs you get, you're like, man, I can't wait till I get off. So you don't necessarily want your business to be like that. Is it your purpose? Is your passion? And when it's your purpose, when it's your passion, then you'll willingly do what you got to do. You'll happily do what you have to do. So we'll go through those basic outlines. Next slide. And this is something black people are suffering from. Who want to read it? What we're suffering from? Say it again. Say it one more time. You can't tell a black man no. You tell them say that, they'll tell you, I know that already. That's a sickness that we have. Knowledge is infinite. We have been taught as students of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that Islam is mathematics. And mathematics is Islam. What does that mean? In different mathematics, you have geometry in particular. In geometry, you may be looking at a particular object, right? But based upon your vantage point, that objects look different, right? So you could be up here and the object is there, but I see it from that side and say, oh, it looks like this. Or I'm going to be over here, and based upon my position here, oh, it looks like this. So if you have a comprehensive knowledge of it, then it allows you to see the picture clearly, pardon me, the big picture. So we got to remove ourselves from know-it-allism. I got to learn more. All of us got to learn more. All of us got a lot to offer. Correct? Yes, sir. Malcolm X said it like this. He said, it's not poverty that produces ignorance. He said there's ignorance that produces what? Poverty. Let me say that again. He said it's not poverty that produces ignorance. It's ignorance that produces what? Poverty. So the less we know, the less our life choices are. The more we know, the greater our life choices are. So we want to impart a degree of knowledge that our activities will reflect the knowledge that we have. So we have been taught that he who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes the circumference of your activities. That basically means if that's all I know how to do is sell dope, that's what I'm going to do, what? Sell dope. If that's all I know how to do is rob and steal, that's all I'm going to do is do what? Rob and steal. But if my knowledge supersedes that realm of knowledge, then my actions will reflect that. So he says that it's not poverty that produces ignorance, it's ignorance that produces poverty. So if you grew up in a poverty-stricken place, or did not grow up in a poverty-stricken place, let me see by show of hands. All of us come from some rough situations, right? Yeah. Who come from a rough situation? Put your hand up. All of us, is that right? Yes, sir. So I'm in good company. Next slide. Pay close attention because we're interactive with videos and certain things. This is Don Peebles. He's worth $700 million. Listen to what he says. Press on the, there you go.
I am with the brand from Mayor
The value?
in 2010. And I found that Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, majority African-American city, had the second highest poverty rate in America. Almost 40% of every African-American citizen in that city was living in poverty. So you look at those statistics and you say, what in the world is going on here? Lack of economic opportunity. So we're where we are today because we have the entrepreneurial spirit has been taken away from us.
You talk about economic development, business opportunities, business growth, small business development. All of those things the African American community still is not seeing in full fruition.
Our education in America has not provided or prepared us to be able to compete with Europeans economically. So we should not be surprised that we're so economically backward because we were never taught how to be economically forward.
Racism was an economic issue. It's always been an economic issue. It's not a social issue. It's not a political issue. It's an economic issue.
I'm Madam C.J. Walker's great-great-granddaughter. I grew up in the hair care business with both parents working in hair care.
Capitalism means learning how to own and control the land, resources, and businesses, and use other people's labor to enrich yourself.
It was terrible for the Negro Leagues. Integration was terrible for the Negro Leagues.
It's about ownership of assets, and that's where real wealth is created, and that's where real power is created.
And it's not social integration, not civil rights that determines your opportunities, your equal opportunities, or your competitiveness. It's what you own and control in terms of vital resources. That's what determines what you're going to get in this world.
We are being faced with economic annihilation, which is why if we don't come together and unify as a people, it's only a matter of time before there might not be too many African Americans left in this country.
The fight today is not for equal rights. It's for equal economic empowerment.
Very key,
Which
very
end of the
powerful.
stick do y'all want? You want integration, you want segregation?
Very
I don't
powerful.
want
I remember seeing
either
that documentary
end of the
before.
stick.
7 a.m. is a documentary recommend that you acquire. Okay? Remember, knowledge is power. The more knowledge we get, the greater our life choices are. Next slide. 3 essential actions required to become successful. Listen to that good. 3 essential actions required to become successful. Observation, concentration, and submission. You got to observe the operation of someone that is what? Successful. Right? You got to concentrate. Don't allow things to distract you or me. Okay? Then you got to submit to the process by which that one did. Malcolm would say it all the time. He said that a cat can have kittens in the oven, but they don't make them biscuits. Do you know what that means? Just because your uncle may be a lawyer or a doctor or a businessman, that don't mean you are one. Just because a certain person may be a doctor, that don't make you one. He said cats can have kittens in the oven, but they don't make them biscuits. If you're not in the process of doing what they did, then your outcome may not necessarily be the same. Okay? So observe the operations of rich people. Observe the operations of entrepreneurs. Observe operations of individuals that you hope to be like or emulate. Okay? Concentrate on this. And then submit yourself to the process, and then you can become likened to that. Or greater than that. Okay? These are 3 essential actions required to become successful. Where there's no vision, what happens? You got to have vision. Okay? You have to have vision beyond what this world offers. Okay? In finding or having a vision, you can have a niche or find a niche in the market. How many of us like Domino's Pizza? I know we're in a health place now. Come on. Or used to like Domino's. Let me say it like that. Nobody. Okay. Now, what did Domino's tell people? That if what?
30 minutes or less.
You what happens?
Get a free pizza.
To get a free pizza. And it may not necessarily get that brother big hand. He on it, man. It may not necessarily have been the best of pizza, but they found a what? Niche. Where? In that market. And that's all they had to do. Fake like somebody, when it was 30 minutes late. With our mouth, we're going to run our mouth, right? You're going to tell your girlfriend, your homeboy, what? Man, I got this for free. And the next person, you know, black people want something for free all the time, right? So the next one, we're going to ask what? You're going to look for Domino's. He said, man, I ain't get it, but you're going to try again, aren't you? Until finally you get yours, and that got you hooked after that, right? That's how it goes. But they found a niche. Remember that, a niche in the market.
Don't forget what they're doing now. You just take pictures of pizza of any place, and they give you points towards another pizza.
Yeah, they're creative. You got to have vision. Thank you, brother. Give him a big hand. So he found a niche. Okay? So always remember, observation, what else? Concentration, what else? Submission. Then you got to have what? A vision. Okay? You have to take the blinders off. See what you see, and don't allow anybody to tell you what you can't do. You know yourself, right? So overcome that obstacle. Listen to this. No. Listen.
Internet sensation Raynell Stewart, known among social media followers as Supercent, has managed to turn viral videos into $1 million cosmetic empire. But it hasn't always been easy for the New Orleans native. For years, she worked as a housekeeper and waitress, a struggle she remembers well.
You may have a good day and you may have a bad day, so you may make rent, you may not.
And with no high school diploma, she's gone from busting tables in the French Quarter to billboards in the sky, becoming a social media hit, posting about everyday life in a plain-spoken way.
It keeps me connected, like I'm human, you know, and everybody, anything I post about myself, somebody else been through it.
A year ago, she stepped out on faith and launched her makeup line, The Crayon Case, featuring lipsticks with names like Crawfish and Hollygrove, turning millions of clicks into cash.
You know that it's something that you love to do and you wouldn't mind getting up every day to do it. Turn that into money. Whatever your passion is, make that into your check.
With a staff of 20, the operation is nestled in New Orleans East with those who have been there since day one overseeing its process, returning the love and support.
When she had nothing, you know, it was always putting somebody before herself. And that's why she's so blessed.
Through the good and bad, Supa says the biggest challenge lies within.
Don't hate on yourself. You know, it's going to be a longer journey. Many people are going to tell you what you can't do, what you shouldn't do. Don't be that person to yourself.
To celebrate the one-year anniversary of her line, Supa will host the Crayon Case Festival at Lot 1701 on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard. It's Saturday, June 2nd from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m., and it's free and open to the public. Reporting from the studio, Kelly Brown, WDSU News.
Okay. I mean, I've heard of her before. Our sister did, her brother. Okay. Now, did she have a degree? Did she rob? Did she steal? Is she a millionaire? Was she creative? If she can do it, guess what? We can what? Do it. Nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. Okay? She said one of the things we got to stop doing is what? Hating on what? Yourself. If we stop hating on ourselves, there's nothing that we can accomplish. It's a big field that awaits all of us who are wide awakened. Whether you're nationalist, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim and just don't believe in God, it's a big field waiting for all of us. Okay? Very good success story. So somebody said, man, he making it up. Can't nobody start. She's a prime example of that, right? Next slide. According to the Daily Success Habits of Wealthy Individuals, author of Rich Habits, Tom Corley, he says rich people read for self-improvement, education, and success. Poor people read primarily to be entertained. Hello. Is that true? Raise your hand. I'm going to close my eyes. Let me say it again. Rich people read for self-improvement, education, and success. Poor people read primarily to be entertained. Did you see that? Right? What was the score? Let me look in the paper. Right? They say rich people, self-improvement. That's key. Did you know that self-improvement is the basis for community development? I can't help the community if I'm not improved. Is that right? So one of my book studies is a book titled Self-Improvement. And this book is authored by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but it has in this book overcoming difficulties, building human potential, struggle for balance, building your will. These are essential self-improvement things that we need to overcome. Do you think not? Okay, so they say education success, but this is the kicker. Who would like $99.5 billion? All of us, is that right? Bill Gates, and we know what he may be involved in. We're not looking at that aspect, what else he may be involved in. But he reads what? 50 books what? Per year. I read another article that said that self-made millionaires read on an average 3 books a month. Not look at the paper and they say, okay, that's it. But they actually read that book. Mark Cuban, worth 4.1. He reads more than 3 hours a day. Warren Buffett, $84 billion. He reads 80% of his day. Now, he got the time with that type of money to read 80% of his day. Is that right? So I say that to say reading is what? Essential for your what? Success.
I just want to add what you read on social media plays a role too.
Absolutely. Thank you. Give Alcama a big hand. That's correct. That's right. Okay? So, because it is. The social media, you can gather a lot from that in a lot of aspects, a lot of ways. So reading, okay? Reading with a purpose is essential. Malcolm X said when he was in his school, meaning in prison, that his reading was his alma mater. But he read things with a what? Purpose. Okay? So if you want to be a mechanic, what you should be reading about? If you want to be an attorney, what should you be reading about? If you want to be a doctor, what you should be reading about? So you read about things that are relevant to the field of endeavor that you hope to engage in. Right? So if you want to go in business, what you should be reading about? Business. Okay? Next slide. This is key. To educate a man in mind and not in morals is educate and minister society. Caucasian said it, but it's true. Let me say that again. A white man said it, but it's what? True. To educate a man in mind and not in morals is to educate and minister society. You in business, but you robbing. You in business, but you stealing. You in business, but you're cheating. That's a menace to society, is that right? So in business, you must have what? Morals. We say it in our language, you got to make your word what? Bond. A good business person make their word what? Bond. A good man or good woman make their word what? Bond. How many of us got beat before? Is that a good feeling? You know that ain't no good feeling, is that right? It's almost equivalent to losing some money that you know you had, right? He's like, dang, what that $100 or $500 or $1,000? It's a heck of a feeling, isn't it? So don't do to others what you don't want done to what? Yourself. So in business, you have to have some morals. 3 things will the slave masters would not teach us. Listen to this carefully. We're talking about business, but these are 3 things the slave master would not teach us. Number 1, the science of what? Mating. Then in the business language, it will be the science of what? Networking. Because in mating, you're marrying one to another that complements one another for the overall good of the family, right? So in this aspect, you'll say the science of networking. And you're complimenting, or somebody have this skill. He may be good at speaking. He's good at accounting. So you put those sciences together. And there's no big I's or little U's. You complement one another for the common good of the what? Business. The science of what? Warfare. Now in this instance, we're dealing with laws. Do you know the Caucasian make laws to protect himself? Business is warfare, so you got to know how to protect what you what? Produce. So in this instance, the science of warfare is you got to know law, how to use law, how to use tax credits, how to register your business, whether it's a LLC, whether it's a corporation, right? Because business is warfare, and sometimes you say, man, that man all that money, and he filed for bankruptcy. Because you know business is what? Warfare. And as a result of him filing for bankruptcy, he kept all his what? Assets. Can we see it? And the science of what? Business. These are 3 essential things that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the slave master would not want to teach us. In the word business, you have the word busy. And the I is interchangeable with the what? Why. When you're busy, you're active in life. Anything is dead is not what? Busy. So if you're active in life, then you're a busy person. Then you try to acquire the things that feed the essentials of your life, which are food, clothing, and shelter. A businessman is an active man. You see somebody on the corner, say, man, get off the corner, man. You're just like a dead old Negro. And the word Negro means lifeless, dead, inactive, neutral, neither this nor that. Okay? So you want to be very what? Active. Who remember the 3 things I said that we need to know to be successful? Yes, ma'am. Give her a good round of applause. Let's say it again. Observation, concentration, and what else? Submission. Then we also need what? Vision. Right or wrong? Then we also need what? Morals. Right? So these are key things to maintain a business. Okay? Now you say, Brother Troy, what do you mean the science of business? That's all you got to do. Ask the NFL players. 78% of NFL players are bankrupt or under financial stress within 2 years of what? Retirement. Multi-millionaires, is that right? That's all you got to do. Ask the NBA players. You said they don't know the science of business. 60% of NBA players go bankrupt within 5 years after leaving their what? Sport. That's sad, isn't it? How can you buy or have worth $5 million and you mortgaging your house? And then when you don't have the $5 million, they take your house because you didn't pay it off. Does that make sense? Okay? Now, that's all you got to do. Ask people to get your income tax. I'm not putting it on nobody. You give black people their income tax after they buy some furniture and a new car, guess what? Say it again. That income tax gone. Is that right? Then you get a bill unexpected. Is that right? Then that's gone. And then you waiting again for your income tax to come when? The next year. See? The science of business haven't been taught. See? Government shut down. How many of us heard about the government shutdown? Now, those who may have been affected by that, I'm not taking your situation lightly. I feel for you or her or him or her, and I respect you. But in reality, most of those government workers make some nice money, don't they? They call them in D.C., you got a good government job. Is that right? Ain't nothing like that good government job. Is that right? But what happened to those good government workers within 30 what? Days. Say it again. Give our sister a hand. She's 100% correct. Now, we're not making mockery, but this is a reality, right? They were in the food pantry line, meaning those uppity ones, right? Who look down on the people who need it. Is that right? Now you in the same situation that you look down on. So that's another business principle. Only time we looking down on somebody is when we doing what? Picking them up. All right? And that's why our brother Nipsey Hussle is respected like he has been respected, because he has seemingly, as is being told to us, a good love for his community. Is that right? Keep that in mind as a business person. Listen to this. No, sir. Gotta help you. Can you help him out, please?
Assalamu alaikum. Here's another tip I had to use as I'm growing and being self-employed. You have to live within your means. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us, don't let your outgo exceed your income, or else your upkeep will be. Meaning, if I don't have Charger money, I can't get a Charger car. If I don't have Bentley money, I can't get no Bentley car. Because if I don't have enough money for it, I won't even be able to afford the oil change. The problem isn't always we're not making enough money. The problem lies in our lifestyle. We're not making enough money to live the lifestyle that we want to live. So I can't go buy every Jordan that come out. I have to buy according to what my money can afford. If I can't go out to eat and eat Beanahanas, I'm going to go get me some Navy beans. Still nourishing my body, but something that I can afford. So we have to keep our lifestyles in line with our pockets. You have to know how to budget that, and you also have to know how to live within your means.
That's key, right? We got to live in between our what? Or within our means, correct? That's one thing that you got to be able to handle as a businessman or a woman. Sometimes you may get a home run, meaning a whole bunch of money, right? That next month may not be the same. But if you use all that money splurging and not realizing that business may change, then what happens? You're in a situation that perhaps it may be difficult for you to get out of. Okay? So a principle, live within your means. Be very wise. Okay? Be very, very wise. This is what Dame Dash says. He said, a Jewish businessman told me, we call you black people liquid money. The same way that water falls out of a man's hands, money typically seeps out of a black person's hands. The same way. Your community gets money and immediately gives it all way to people who aren't black. We see that as a huge business opportunity. New sneakers came out, what do we do? And this is no disrespect to nobody who may celebrate this. Christmas come out, what do we do? Spend, is that right? That's in December. January, when the bill is ready to be paid, what do we do? You ain't got no money to pay. See? Liquid money. You get your paycheck. I'm going to the mall. I'm going to get this car. I'm going to get these shoes. Is that right? Liquid money. We don't pool our resources. Think about this in business. Keep that in your mind. And this is sad. Circulation of the dollar in days based on the community. The white, how many days? Can't hear you, family. How many days?
17.
Jewish, how many days?
20.
Asians, how many days it stays in the community?
30 days.
Black people, what does it say?
6 hours.
Now that's sad. Is that not sad? 6 hours. We can't get mad at our Mexican family for pooling their resources and doing what we should be doing ourselves. But we'll walk right past everlasting to go to McDonald's or Popeye. Not saying us, we here, you know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about generally speaking. Oh, you worry about, oh man, he getting too much money, man. You realize how much money they making? And not giving back into the community? All the time? You got to look at this circulation like blood. If you don't have your blood circulating within your body and it seeps out of your body, what's going to happen to you? You're going to die. So this community has been called, meaning those who are in our community are called blood suckers of the poor. Because they suck the life fluid from us and our communities are decimated, decaying, they're dying as if though blood is taken out of our community. Money is the lifeline, the lifeblood. And it's evident that they're taking it out. Is that right? So as a business person, be very wise on how you circulate and how we cooperate with one another in sharing our resources. Let's try to circulate our monies, our expertise, our time, our talent, and our energy. All right? Listen to this. Another good success story.
It's hopping at Swimming Husky's Pizza. And it's not even noon yet.
The owners are 3 budding entrepreneurs. E.J. Reed is the swim. His college roommates, Derek Moore and Clint Gray, former football players at Tennessee State, are the Huskies.
We invested about $1,000 a piece. Back then, that's all we had.
That was it.
I don't even know if it was 1,000 a piece. Two of us probably had about 800.
We're standing at the original Mad Pizza Science Lab.
They turned this former garage into a pizza-making lab where they developed their unique recipes. They thought selling 300 pizzas a day would be great. But since opening in March, they do nearly 1,000. For them, building a booming business isn't only about doing well. It's also about doing good.
What better place to create change and be an example than in your own neighborhood?
Their neighborhood is North Nashville. Citywide, 17% of people live in poverty. Here, it's 40%. Unemployment is more than 3 times the rest of the city.
We see a lot of times that a lot of guys that we grew up with, they don't come back because a lot of times they don't see the opportunity that's here for African Americans in Nashville. And but we're about creating opportunities.
Slim and Huskies also provides something that's been almost impossible for folks from this neighborhood to find: a job they can walk to.
No matter what you look like or where you come from, if you work together, you can create a community that continues to build.
We 100% believe in that.
Belief, the too often missing ingredient when it comes to revitalizing neighborhoods. At this pizza place, it's pairing nicely with the cheese, sauce, and crust to get the job done. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, Nashville.
Powerful. Who's seen that story before? Sister. Okay. How much money did they have? They had close to probably $3,000. Did they pool their money? Is pizza hard to make? You need some what? Tomato sauce? Is that right? Some dough and some black love. Is that right? And you got the best pizza in the neighborhood. Is that right? You know y'all got y'all special stuff. You know, man, this is my pizza. So that's all you need. Okay? It does not take a rocket science to do certain things and be creative. And they pooled their monies. And they had a test lab. What was their test lab at? In a garage. You don't have to go, I'm going to open this office building and I'm going to work out my product. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have no money to pay for the office building. You got to be very creative. Me and my brother Bakai, we have virtual offices, but we had a female who was a partner with us in terms of presentation. She saw somebody had a nice office and all that, and she was like, when y'all going to get an office? We didn't need one. We didn't need to waste money, so to speak. Virtual office, how many know what a virtual office is? Okay, that's no problem. We're talking to that another time, but I'm going to give you a little tip. A virtual office is basically, they sell virtual offices all the time, meaning that you can pay a certain amount of money each month. And you tell that person, this is my address to my office. And as a result, you have a person answering the telephone. If you want to meet that person, they can meet you in an office where the building is open for you at a certain particular time. A conference room is open for you at a certain particular time. You can put your picture up in that office at a certain particular time. And your mail can come there at all the time. Is that right? And the person would think that's your what? Actual what? Physical office. And it may cost from anywhere from $75 to thousands of dollars a month. That's a virtual office. That's ways that you can have a business office or business address without using your own home address. Because some business say, some places say, do you have a business office? And you say yes. And you give them that virtual office address, and that's yours. And they will answer your phone. Hi, Glimpse of Paradise, may I help you? Because they got one of those boards. And they know when a call is coming in, they know how to do it. Okay? That's a virtual office. But be mindful, okay, that what type of monies you need. Don't be sold the idea that you need all this grand. You need some money now. I'm going to talk about all that. But you don't think that you need all this great money to get things started. Okay? Our unity will solve what? 95% of our problems. They were unified and they pooled all their money together. And then they had a pizza parlor. Next. Business. Business is the activity of what? Life. Keep that in your mind. Business is the activity of what? Life. When you're active, you're in business, okay? Business is also what? Warfare. Let me say that again. Business is also what? Warfare. How many of us heard of the great Marcus Mosiah Garvey? Great man, is that right? Yes. Let's give our brother ancestor a round of applause. What did he start business-wise? What was it called? The Black what? The Black Star Line. And brother, do you know who he had beside him helping him out? It was it's probably many, but that's like a broad question. But he had an agent, not a, he had an FBI agent.
Right.
He had an informant right beside him. So he would go purchase, the story is clear, these Black Star Line or these ships, and he was purchasing inferior ships because he was ill-advised by his so-called confidant. And as a result of buying these particular ships that were not up to par, then he spent 6 times, as I've heard, 6 times, and I've read, 6 times the amount of what those ships cost. So when people were giving them money, they became disheartened because that what they gave, they were not necessarily receiving the results of what they gave. They expect for this, that, and the other, so they start looking at Marcus Garvey as if though he was what? Beating them. Business is what? Warfare. So somebody was sent. The man was such a confident in him, is reported that he even reported to the FBI that Marcus Garvey confided in him that he wanted to even commit suicide. You know, you got to be personal with someone that you're a strong leader and you telling this man your business that I want to commit suicide. According to the report I read, they said that Marcus Garvey even told the man that he wanted to commit suicide. And he reported this to the government. Business is what? Warfare. So be ever mindful of this. Okay? Always be on your guard. Be mindful. That's all I'm saying. Be mindful that business is what? Warfare. And you have an enemy, not necessarily your black people, you got to watch us too, but you have other people trying to take your business once you get to a certain level. BET was once owned by black people, now owned by what? Say it again? Viacom. Viacom, I think, is owned by what? Rupert Murdoch? Or Sumner Redstone? Right, Sumner Redstone, a Jew. Right? Fat Farm used to be owned by blacks, right? Now owned by somebody else. I think that this bought Essence got purchased back. I think it did, right? But they went after Essence, didn't they? So you always got to keep them in business as what? Warfare. And we always seem to think that they offer us a deal that we think that we can't reject. All right? Keep that in your mind. I think we got about 5 minutes. We'll take a break and then come back. Sister Alkamar, how long is the break, you said? 15 minutes? And everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
Have we learned something so far?
Yes, sir.
We want to see y'all back in 15 minutes, and we got a lot more to go. Give yourself a big hand. We're not over yet. We're just going to take a little break. She said we want to socialize and get something to eat.
Okay, yes, 15-minute break. Please support the vendors. This is a huge part of our monthly activity here at the Black Wall Street Renaissance. We can't do it without the vendors. So, family, please support all the vendors that are in the room. They have a lot of wonderful products. And if you want to get on our database for reminders, I have a database in the back. Just see me. All I need is your phone number and your name, and we'll send you a text whenever we do anything here at Everlasting Life for the event side. Professor Griff is in the house. Give it up for Professor Griff. Woo-hoo. He's coming on next. His lecture starts at 6:30. Tickets are still on sale. If you want to get tickets for his lecture, it's going to be a powerful punch. And yeah, we'll see you guys back in about 10, 15 minutes. Thank you.
3:39. So we say 3:55. 3:55, family, choose to socialize a little bit. Then at the second part, we're going to entertain some questions that we have, okay? So 3:55, we'll be right back in action.
Okay, Facebook. Hey, Facebook, I'm going to come back to you in about 15 minutes. I'm going to cut this thing off and come back. And so if you guys have any questions, get them ready, because I'm going to come on here and read and see if you guys have any questions for Brother Troy. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for sharing. Peace.